When driving on an interstate. A. Stop on the shoulder of the road if you are tired. B. You should always use cruise control. C. Signal, check mirrors, and check blind spots before changing lanes. D. You should change lanes often. C. Signal, check mirrors, and check blind spots before changing lanes. Signal, check your mirrors, and check your blind spot before changing lanes or passing on an interstate. Only stop on the shoulder of the interstate in the case of an emergency and change lanes as infrequently as possible. Cruise control should not be used in heavy traffic or under poor weather conditions. Before turning, you should A. Use your signal. B. Turn the wheel. C. Increase your speed. D. Change lanes. A. Use your signal. To complete a turn safely, you should activate your turn signal 3 to 4 seconds before your turn. This symbol is used for A. Dangerous intersections. B. Slow-moving vehicles. C. Yield signs. B. Slow-moving vehicles. A reflective orange triangle on the rear of a vehicle means it travels only at slow speeds. You may see this sign on roadwork equipment, farm vehicles, or horse-drawn wagons and carriages. It appears as a solid orange triangle during the day and a hollow red triangle at night. A diamond-shaped sign is a A. Road hazard sign. B. Interstate route sign. C. School crossing sign. D. Speed limit sign. A. Road hazard sign. Warning signs are normally diamond-shaped and yellow, although orange warning signs are used in work areas. Such signs warn that you are approaching a hazardous location or an area where special rules apply.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
When passing a row of parked vehicles, you should A. Be prepared for a person or vehicle to unexpectedly enter your lane. B. Expect all other drivers and pedestrians to respect your right-of-way. C. Drive closely to the parked vehicles to allow more room for moving traffic. A. Be prepared for a person or vehicle to unexpectedly enter your lane. Keep a space between your vehicle and parked vehicles. A person may step out of a parked vehicle or out from between the parked vehicles without looking. A driver may begin moving their vehicle before realizing you are there. When you are in a line of traffic that is crossing a railroad track that has no signals or gates. A. You have the right of way and do not need to check for trains. B. You may pass slower drivers while crossing the track. C. You need to make sure there is space for your vehicle to get all the way across the tracks without stopping. D. All of the above. C. You need to make sure there is space for your vehicle to get all the way across the tracks without stopping. If you are following another vehicle at a railroad crossing, check to make sure you have enough room to get all the way across before you drive onto the tracks. You should never try to pass another vehicle as you approach or cross a railroad crossing. Always check for trains before crossing any railroad tracks. The most effective thing you can do to reduce your risk of being injured or killed in a traffic crash is to A. Wear your seat belt. B. Limit your driving to weekdays. C. Stay in the right lane on multi-lane highways. D. Limit your driving to hours between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. A. Wear your seat belt. Wearing your seat belt is the single most effective thing you can do to reduce your risk of death or injury while driving. At dusk or on overcast days, you should A. Drive using your four-way flashers. B. Drive using your parking lights. C. Not turn on any vehicle lights. D. Turn on your headlights. D. Turn on your headlights. At dusk or on overcast days, you must turn on your headlights. Dim your lights to their low beam setting when within 1,000 feet of an approaching vehicle and when within 500 feet of a vehicle that you are following. When driving in poor weather, always use your low beams. Headlights are required when visibility is less than A. 100 feet. B. 300 feet. C. 500 feet. C. 500 feet. Iowa law requires drivers to use their headlights from sunset to sunrise. Headlights must also be used at any other time when visibility is limited to 500 feet or less. On an undivided highway, if an emergency vehicle approaches while using its siren and flashing lights, you should A. Drive slowly until it has passed. B. Speed up to clear traffic. C. Pull to the right and stop. C. Pull to the right and stop. You must yield the right-of-way to a police vehicle, fire engine, ambulance, or other emergency vehicle using a siren or air horn and red or blue flashing lights. Pull over to the right edge of the road, or as near to the right side as possible, when you see or hear an emergency vehicle approaching from any direction on an undivided highway. What does this road sign mean? A. Slow down and prepare to stop if cars are approaching you. B. Come to a full stop then proceed when it is safe to do so. C. Proceed carefully through the intersection, not always stopping. B. Come to a full stop then proceed when it is safe to do so. An octagonal sign always means stop. When approaching a stop sign, you must come to a complete stop at the marked stop line and proceed only when it is safe to do so. If there is no stop line, stop before the crosswalk. If there is no crosswalk, stop before the intersection at a point from which you can see any oncoming traffic. When driving in fog, you should use your low beam headlights. A. True. B. False. A. True. You should always use your low beam headlights when driving in fog. High beam headlights may cause the light to reflect off of the fog and into your eyes. If your wheels drop off the pavement and onto the shoulder of the road, you should A. Brake hard and turn sharply back onto the pavement. B. Stop your car on the edge of the road. C. Slow down and very carefully turn back onto the pavement. D. Maintain your speed and turn sharply back onto the pavement. C. Slow down and very carefully turn back onto the pavement. If your wheels drop off the pavement and onto a low shoulder, you should reduce your speed without braking and very carefully turn back onto the pavement. Be aware of any nearby traffic when re-entering the road. Because driving involves some risk, it is wise to continually improve your driving and observation skills. A. True. B. False. A. True. Driving can become unsafe if drivers believe they have nothing to improve. For your safety and the safety of others, always strive to improve your driving and observation skills. When you see this sign, you must A. Stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic. B. Slow down without coming to a complete stop. C. Stop completely and wait for a green light. D. Slow down and check for traffic. A. Stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic. Any 8-sided sign is a stop sign. At an intersection with a stop sign, you must stop completely and check for pedestrians and cross traffic in the intersection. Wait for the intersection to clear before proceeding. A traffic light displaying a green arrow and a red light means that A. You may only drive straight ahead. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. C. You must wait for a solid green light to proceed in any direction. D. Vehicles moving in any direction must stop. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. If a green arrow is shown with a red light, you can only drive in the direction of the arrow and only if the intersection is clear. You can help keep the driver behind you a safe distance away from your vehicle by A. Driving 10 miles per hour faster than the car behind you. B. Driving 10 miles per hour slower than the car behind you. C. Maintaining a steady speed. C. Maintaining a steady speed. It is not always easy to maintain a safe distance behind your vehicle. However, you can help keep the driver behind you a safe distance away from your vehicle by maintaining a steady speed and signaling turns, lane changes, and deceleration in advance. A broken yellow line beside a solid yellow line indicates that passing is A. Permitted from the side next to the solid yellow line. B. Not permitted from either direction. C. Permitted from the side next to the broken yellow line. C. Permitted from the side next to the broken yellow line. When the center of the road is marked by a solid yellow line beside a broken yellow line, passing is permitted from the side next to the broken line and prohibited from the side next to the solid line. If you are getting tired while driving, you should A. Stop and either get rest or change drivers. B. Drink something with caffeine. C. Open a window. A. Stop and either get rest or change drivers. To avoid the dangers of fatigue driving, take breaks every hour or so during a long trip. If possible, share driving responsibilities with another person so you can each sleep while the other person drives. If you have had several beers, the effects of alcohol will be reduced only by A. Taking a cold shower. B. Waiting several hours. C. Drinking several cups of coffee. B. Waiting several hours. The only way to remove the impairing effects of alcohol is to give the body time to remove it from the body. Drinking coffee, physical activity, or taking a cold shower will not speed up this process. It takes about 1 hour to cancel the effects of one drink. This road sign means A. One-way road. B. No right turn. C. Exit. D. Sharp right turn in the road ahead. D. Sharp right turn in the road ahead. This sign indicates that there is a sharp right turn ahead. When you see this black and yellow sign, it means A. The road to the right is for one-way traffic only. B. There is a detour to the right due to road construction. C. The road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. C. The road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. They alert you to conditions that are immediately ahead. This sign tells drivers to slow down and prepare for an abrupt change in direction at an extreme angle. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Intersection ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. D. Highway curves ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right. When you see this sign, you A. Are approaching a railroad crossing and should prepare to stop. B. Will always stop at the upcoming railroad crossing. C. Should stop and wait for a signal before crossing the railroad tracks. A. Are approaching a railroad crossing and should prepare to stop. This sign indicates that you are approaching a railroad crossing. You must look, listen, slow down, and prepare to stop. Wait for any trains to pass before you proceed. Motorcycles are entitled to A. The bicycle lane. B. The same full lane width as other motor vehicles. C. Half the width of a lane. D. The width of the sidewalk. B. The same full lane width as other motor vehicles. Lane usage for the motorcyclist is critical. Motorcycles are entitled to the same full lane width as all other vehicles. When a car with bright headlights drives toward you at night, you should A. Stop until the other driver passes. B. Look below their headlights. C. Glance toward the right edge of your lane. C. Glance toward the right edge of your lane. To avoid being blinded when driving at night, do not look directly at the headlights of oncoming cars. Instead, look toward the right edge of the road until the oncoming driver has passed. This sign means A. Curves ahead. B. Divided highway starts. C. Divided highway ends. C. Divided highway ends. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns that the divided highway ends ahead. Prepare to change lanes or shift lane position. This sign means A. Stop ahead. B. Buggy warning. C. Limited parking. D. Do not block intersection. A. Stop ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that there is an upcoming stop sign and that they should prepare to come to a complete stop before proceeding. When may you proceed through an intersection that has a stop sign but no stop line or crosswalk? A. After slowing down to verify that there is no cross traffic. B. After coming to a complete stop and verifying that it is safe to proceed. C. After you have stopped at least 20 feet prior to the intersection. D. After slowing down to a speed of 10 miles per hour. B. After coming to a complete stop and verifying that it is safe to proceed. Stop before the stop line or crosswalk at any intersection that is controlled by a stop sign. If there is a stop sign but no stop line or crosswalk, stop before entering the intersection and proceed when it is safe to do so. You must obey instructions from school crossing guards. A. At all times. B. Only during school hours. C. Unless you do not see any children present. A. At all times. Drivers should be alert to the presence of crossing guards when near a school and must always obey their instructions. This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to where pedestrians may be crossing. If a pedestrian is crossing in a crosswalk marked with this sign, drivers must stop and remain stopped until the pedestrian is no longer in the crosswalk. This sign means A. No right turn. B. Stop sign ahead. C. Divided highway. A. No right turn. This sign indicates that turns in the direction of the arrow, in this case, to the right, are prohibited. A steady yellow light at an intersection means A. Go. B. Yield to other cars. C. Slow down and prepare to stop. D. Stop. C. Slow down and prepare to stop. A steady yellow light indicates that a steady red light will soon appear. If you are driving toward an intersection and a yellow light appears, slow down and prepare to stop. If you are already within the intersection or cannot stop safely before entering the intersection, continue through carefully. Round signs indicate A. No passing zones. B. School zones. C. Upcoming railroad crossings. D. Hospitals. C. Upcoming railroad crossings. Round signs warn drivers of an upcoming railroad crossing area. Drivers should use extra caution when approaching a railroad crossing. When driving at night, you should A. Always use your high beams. B. Look directly at the headlights of an oncoming vehicle. C. Increase your following distance. C. Increase your following distance. Increase your following distance when it is difficult to see due to darkness. Use headlights to increase visibility, following the rules for proper use of high beams and low beams. Avoid looking directly at the headlights of an oncoming vehicle to avoid being blinded by the glare.